players could also do this, and then you will get this view. So part of the challenge was trying to make the views quite interesting, but in this case, of course, the other view is much better, but that's like, so in some cases people get different views and experience, but we couldn't really like choose a view for the player, because again, to place the right brother on the right side was very important for us. Here it's funny actually, let me show you something. We have a trophy up here, but actually on this table here you have concepts that I drew of the game, which is like really bad drawn. But if you look closely on the table now, you see on the table, and you can see the one in the middle there is actually, I don't know if it's clear, but it's actually the mother scene that we played before. I'm gonna zoom in and out a little bit. It's the mother scene laying down in a really bad way. You see the big head, the big face. And the other one on the right is a picture of a spider, on the spider boss later that you will see. And then there is, let's see what that one, yeah, and that one on the left is actually the river, when you fly through a river. So you can see the water coming down and everything. They're really stupid looking, but it's fun. We put them in just for fun actually. Again, here, if you look closely, you can try to find that bird that you released, and here he is. And you actually, so it's kind of like a love story, because you release the bird and then, you know, they get the chance to meet and fall in love. This is also a funny side trophy story, which I really like. And if we had the time, we'd love to do all the trophies like this, like the hangman. But of course, all of that takes a lot of time. But for me, this is what trophies is about, to have a trophy that makes a difference in the world, that means something for the player. This actually was before a plane you flew with. But after a while, we realized that we could actually use the mechanical brothers to make it much more interesting. And once we did that, it felt so great. This is so much better than just flying a plane, pretty much. Here's one of the places where the checkpoint can be really bad, because you can play for a while and then you can lose on the checkpoint. You have to restart over. Other than that, it's many of the places in Brothers are like very nice when it comes to checkpoints. It's interesting, we will come to a bird soon, which in the beginning he wasn't this nice. It was actually a really cool idea, because they were supposed to like, it was a boss that they were supposed to steal his egg, and stealing the egg they were supposed to like throw it between each other, and like and you take out this boss by actually killing him. He's hunting you down and you steal his like egg, and the actual challenge is to, you know, keep this egg between you and get away from the bird, and then the actual bird would die from sorrow, so it will actually be killed because he misses his egg and his child. But that proved to be like very hard to do. It was really hard to do, so we had to take it away. So we made the bird into a different kind of characters who helped the brothers out to reach their goal, really. So we made him into that he was in captive, and he saves them like that. But that was actually quite early we took that decision, because we realized quite fast that, oh, this will be way too hard. One have to remember that the team that made Brothers, a lot of them was quite new. I mean, we have some senior people, but most of the guys that did Brothers, like, we had a lot of interns. We had like a lot of guys doing their first game. So this wasn't like the, you know, the senior people or Brothers. We had a couple, but many of the guys were new. So, but now these guys are of course very skilled. But at that time, like, so for many of us, this was our first game, I would say. Yeah, so now you will see that bird that was in the beginning, he was more of a boss, and he would look differently. We have to change the look of him as well, because he looked like he had a little bit more evil look, but now he has a more nicer look, and now we actually feel for him and supposed to feel sorry for him. And this is actually, from a story-wise, is connected because you see that, of course, that the brothers are very small, and because there are giants living here, and there's been a war that you will see in the next chapter. You can also look at these pictures. I think many people miss these kind of interactions. So anyway, instead of like having this bird as a boss, he's now a friendly bird. That's gonna help them to reach the goal. First we thought of like actually controlling the bird and let the player control the flying of the bird, but that that was gonna be too hard because like letting people fly everywhere here would be a lot of work to try to build a level where you can actually fly and control. Here's a perfect example where if like the player would play exactly as the developer would want to, that would be really happy, but players like do what they want, so that's why we realized that it would be way too much work to let the player control the bird, so that's why we took it away. And look closely at that feather later. There's a kind of thing a hidden thing here. You see the feather he dropped us. If you take that feather with you, I have it in my hand here, and you release it here, you see that it's flying away. But it will come back later in the game. I will show you where. So now we are in chapter 5, where the game even goes darker in a way. But I'm very happy that people get this puzzle, without explaining anything. That's what I'm really proud about with Brothers. That we don't have to over-explain everything. The people get it after a while. So you have to pretend to be their god to kind of because if you don't do that, they will attack you, of course. So you have to be very... I really love those little guys, actually. You can just try to scare them away, like, they're quite stupid, too. So now you're saving this girl who turns out to be not so nice. And actually the idea with her was even more. I mean, it's happening in the game now. But the idea with this girl is that to create this tension between the brothers, that they kind of question each other a little bit. Because the big brother will kind of start to fall in love with her, which we will see in the game also later on. So the brothers is kind of what happened to you? She's like, I don't know. And here again, slowly she will try to make the big brother like her, and you can see that the little brother don't like her so much, even in his reaction. He's in the beginning he's more okay, sure. You will see actually different steps of how he reacts to her. Here he's kind of nice, and then you will see later on how he becomes more and more suspicious. Here actually you can see that these small people here are that you saw before. Here are actually some of them too hidden here and doing having some kind of a ritual. You see them here. This is also a trophy. A lot of work behind this, and probably not so many players have seen this, but yeah, obviously they have, because it is a trophy. Here are these whales I really like. I don't know why I really love this water. It's kind of beautiful but scary at the same time. Imagine swimming there, that would be awesome. Yeah, look at the girl now, how she's climbing. Look, almost kind of spiderish, you see? And she's she's not walking like they do. Look at the girl now again, how she jumps. Jumping in a way which is not kind of natural that a girl like her should do. Okay, look now. She's like, wow. Yep. Now look how she climbs everywhere. And of course, here you see, if you look closely before, how she's very happy with the big brother, and he really likes her. He looked like she's like... Hey, look at little brother, he's kind of come on, what are you doing? She's like, come on. The little brother is really feeling that something is strange. So we have the boss scene here, where you actually have to fight the girl. It's kind of creepy boss actually. You almost feel sorry for the spider. You have to grab out all the legs. But you see that this boss, like, every time she comes, you have to like put the leg so it's like pointed to in the middle. Because like, look how, if you turn like here, look the leg now. It's the one from inside, so you can grab. Because if it's like too close to the corner, they will cut into the. Yeah, it would be very complicated. Let me see here. Boom. You see, she turns around and she points her leg insidewards. Okay, now she's very like. Again here, boom, on the inside. And then we have a cutscene that triggers soon. Again in the inside, and now we do this. And then of course she stabs the brother. This is actually what kills the brother. You see his color in his face and everything changes. And the idea here is that the father can actually sense that something is going on, is trying to help them, but obviously he's very sick and cannot do it, so. But he feels there's something going on. The connection between families. Okay, now we're very close to the finding the actual cure for the father. And here is like one of the hardest moments in the game actually. So now little brother comes to the, to the cure where he can find the cure for his father. But he's also like, the big brother is downstairs, like down waiting, and he's very, very bad. And this scene was, of course, very, very hard to make. I mean, just to record it with the sound and everything, the actors is really crying for real here, because to get the authenticity of the scene. But it was important to make, because this is like one of the most important scenes of Brothers. This is the actual like ground design of Brothers, to controlling like two brothers with one stick, and then you literally like lose your left hand and left stick, to feel that there's a loss, a physical loss for the player who's controlling the brothers. So this is a very hard part, which actually was very tough to record. And for me it's even more personal, because when I used to live in Lebanon, I moved to Sweden when I was 10 years old. And my mother, I really wanted a little brother, and my mother has had like a lot of miscarriages all the time, like almost 4 or 5 times. And I think on the 4th time, when she had miscarriage again, she actually asked me to bury my little brother myself. So me and my sister went out to bury my little brother. So that was very hard for me. But I mean, this scene is kind of like inspired from my own life, you could say. So it was very hard, especially to play the scene now when it's done, because it's been a while. It's much harder. But I'm really, really proud of like the scene and how it's working. I love these fantasies also in my movies, especially one called Zozo, which is like inspired from my own life. You have a lot of fantasy going on. I'm like this, like he fantasized that Big Brother is back to life. Actually, I think many players have played here like thought, oh my god, it can't be true that Big Brother will die, but that was the point of the whole game. And you will understand also another design decision that's coming later, which I think is actually what makes Brothers what it is today, actually, which I'm so proud of. This is like, I remember the first night I was in a hotel room when I came up with Brothers, the concept of Brothers. This scene was like one of the first scenes, that came up in my mind, like, that you actually have to bury your own brother. But of course, there was a a lot of challenge to make it happen and make it, you know, visually clear what to do and how to control, and obviously understand now why we can't have any HUDs and all these kind of weird stuff on the screen right now. That's also one of the reasons why we want the experience to be as clean as possible, not to get away from the illusion that you're actually, you know, in this world. It's so clean, like you don't see anything, and it's not so often you have games where it's like super clean in the whole screen. Actually, if you stop and you push the button, it will start and cry, and the controller will shake, you know, but you can release and hold on to the... This scene, of course, was like very important that we didn't have any bugs or crashes and stuff like that, so because it's like the most important scene of the whole game. So you literally have to drag down your brother, and you can see that we have 4 piles in the background, and we help the player as much as we can here, make them understand that you have to go and push in that pile. So we pretty much take the controller over from the player from right about now, and you know, so we place the player behind one of the piles, so we don't get any, you know, we really don't want to end up. This was very important to keep it flow and keep it flowing, so the players didn't really say like, oh, what am I supposed to do here? So and I think we really succeeded, because I've seen some people play this and they're really like emotionally, you know, it's emotionally very heavy, so they quite understand. And I love the pacing, that it goes so slowly here. I think it works really well. And now you really feel that you're not using your left hand again, and I'm so proud of. It's so cool that you're really feeling that you're missing one hand, really. Now you have the bird coming back. I'm gonna leave it up to interpretations here. I know exactly why he's back and what's going on, but it's more fun for you out there to figure it out. In a way, I think it's quite obvious, but I mean, so now we are in the last bit of the game. It's funny also, I'm talking all the time about the little brother and how playful he is, and how he later becomes more and more like serious in the game. And while I'm playing this right now, I mean, I've already talked that I've experienced burying my own little brother and stuff, and it's funny, it's like I'm kind of realizing that this is very much my story, and I am the little brother. Because I kind of started kind of playful in the beginning of the game, and now I feel like quite emotionally, you know, heavy. I have a like big thing on my chest, if you know what I mean. But anyway, to get back to the design, this is actually the biggest design issue. I could literally not sleep when I came up with this. I even remember that time. Now you remember that little brother could not swim, of course. This is very important. He could not swim. He don't have the courage, and he always like felt that it's his fault that his mother drowned. And his mother comes up, and she tells him like, "Come on, you can do it. You can do this. Continue." And here's the thing: because you're only using the right stick to control, and you only have the right trigger of the little brother, coming up that you have to push the left trigger, it's actually the dead brother's button, to get the strength to continue on your own, was for me like wow. Because for me it was like making character growth in an interactive way, and making it like by pushing a button. And that's, I think, was the moment that was the real wow moment. I remember when I came up with this, I couldn't sleep. I was like up all night, and I came in the day after the team. I was like, okay guys, you were gonna go nuts. And when I tell them that, you know, they were like, wow. And this is for everyone. I think this moment is the big moment. So when I push the right trigger, he just cries, he can't. But when I push left trigger, You see the camera goes down a little bit, kind of to show that something is happening. It gets more strange. You hear the big brother's voice in the background, and the controls start to shake. So you literally have to push the big brother's button to get the strength. Once you do that, you can swim on your own. Otherwise, you can't. So you look like you're literally feeling the strength of like Big Brother inside you. And I'm so proud of this moment. It's crazy. So we are like in the ending scene. This was actually supposed just to be a cutscene, but we changed it so you actually can make the last walk up to your father, which I think was very good to like give the player kind of like a, because there's so much emotions here. Hopefully if you have played everything through, they will feel it. So you give the player the last part where you control the little brother. And I will also show you the very important thing. Like remember like in the beginning of the game when we interacted with that flower and he like kicked it down, and look now how he reacts to the same thing. So he's like, it's really the story about the little brother, how he grows into another person. So I'm gonna go up to the same flower actually and see how his reaction is. Let's go up to here's actually when we started the game, we put the father in the wagon, and here you have that. So if I interact now, he will react more mature and smell it like the big brother did. And once I come here, it's actually exactly where the games started and where the game menu is. And you can see here also that, you know, that is almost like the father who's breaking up and the little brothers who's come out as the stronger character here. So this is the end of the game. I hope you enjoyed me talking about this, and I hope you enjoyed the game. And I'm looking forward to create a new game with the whole team of brothers at the new studio called Hazelight. Have a great one, everybody. Thank you.